Welcome to Megapath Presents. I'm Ronnie Hayes, and today let's talk about The Walking Dead Season 8 being devastating and political. Not in a boring way, because there's a big difference between Negan as a villain and the governor as a villain, and that's where the political side kind of comes into play. Even though the governor was the governor and he had that whole two-faced thing with the, his public face and his political... It doesn't matter. Anyway, it's not going to be boring, but it is a part of the discussion. But I do want to get this out of the way real quick. If you missed it in a previous video, during the break, I don't know if we're going to switch up when Fear the Walking Dead comes back, but during the break, we will definitely talk about The Walking Dead every Wednesday, called Walker Withdrawal Wednesday. There's like a million Walking Dead channels. If someone else has that name, I'll change it to something else, but I just figure Walker Withdrawal, it was stupid. I don't know. I said it in a previous video, and I'm just keeping it. So every Wednesday, get ready for a Walking Dead discussion. Unless some big news comes up during the week, like if we get something on Friday or Tuesday, I will discuss it right away if it's big. If it's not, I'll just wait till Wednesday and we'll just knock it out. Now, in between, there's still going to be videos, but they're going to be random, different videos, sometimes horror, sometimes non-Walking Dead related. So that's the schedule right now. If you want a little heads up, keep an eye on this channel, especially on Wednesdays for The Walking Dead. One thing I want to get out of the way is a casting of potentially Alpha for The Walking Dead Season 8, and this is old news, and I didn't talk about it before because it's not that big of a deal. I think what happens is someone will post a story, like a big, entertainment news site, and then little internet sites will pick up the story, and the fans hear about it, they tell other fans, and then down the line, it gets distorted, and fans think this is a big role, this is a new, a main character being casted. All it was Maria Bella. I love her, and I feel like I'm butchering her name. I've seen her in a bunch of movies, and I've always liked... I can't think of anything I didn't like, so I feel like I always like what she's in, so I'm happy about this, but this isn't like a character who's coming on who has her own main cast. This is a person who was doing an interview with People magazine, and they said, oh, I love The Walking Dead, my friend's a producer there, which that's a red flag. As soon as I hear that, I'm like, no, I hate it, because with remakes or reboots, if you look into the fine print and who's the creative minds behind it, it's usually like a really shitty fit. It's people that it's just a bad fit for the project, and it usually got there because someone said, oh, hey, I worked with these people, I'm friends with these people, here, do this, do your own thing with it. That happens not just with remakes and reboots, but if you look at a lot of stuff, there's just bad fits, and I think that messes, like the creative team behind Ghostbusters, that was the bad fit for that franchise. They should have made their own franchise. That's an example of a bad fit, in my personal opinion. Anyway, now she said she wanted to be on the show. It's her favorite show, so they got her a little small part, and she wouldn't even care if she was a walker. Think about this. This could be a part where she could be a walker and we never see her. This could be a part where she has one or two lines, and a lot of fans are running around thinking this is going to be the new big bad villain. No. It could be. They could say, hey, we got this thing coming up in Season 9. Can you hold off? Just looking at her face and at her range as an actor, she could probably pull that off. But 70% of me is screaming there is a perfect fit as Alpha out there, maybe a lesser known actress or an unknown, There's somebody out there, and that's where I'm leaning. But if they did cast her as Alpha, I'd probably go into that feeling pretty good about it. Again, we'd have to wait until we see that play out on screen before we could fully judge her, but I'd feel good about that casting. So with that said, that's how I feel about this. I feel like this is just something where she could get a role where she's in it for a minute, or she's in it for 2 episodes or 3 episodes. I feel like a good fit for her, honestly, would be Oceanside. We need something to happen. We need a story with Oceanside to pull them into the mix. They need to enter the fold, especially now that the scavengers from the trash community, since they did some dirty shit on Rick, we need some more people in the communities to maybe aid them in fighting off the saviors and stuff like that. So we need characters who will want to fight, and you have this actor with some good range, you could blend her probably easily into that story. She could be the person who took Heath, for all we know, and they might not even be with Oceanside, so they can go that direction. Multiple different possibilities. I think the people who took Heath are not with Oceanside, because we probably would have got that revelation when Rick stole the guns and shit like that. We will keep an eye on this actor and for news announcements, but for right now, if you want my official opinion as a huge fan, I think it's just going to be anywhere from a walker, you know, that's in a scene, to a character that has a few lines, that's a background, that, you know, one character walks up, oh no, we gotta, you know, plant bombs here, and here I'll come and show Daryl where the, I don't know, where the ammunition is, and that's it. Right now I'm thinking that's where it's going to be. Maybe Max, a character that has a few lines, and she comes back for 2 or 3 episodes and maybe dies in the war. So that's my official opinion. But I want to transition over to the difference between Negan, just real quick, and the governor, and why this might be devastating and political. This is not, and I've said this multiple times, and I'll go into a fresh look, because I'm not going to just repeat what I've said, but this is not two sides on a battlefield shooting until everyone's dead. Rick and gang want to win, but they don't want to risk or sacrifice any of their people. You know what I mean? They will if they got to, but they're not just going to bum rush, you know, all the Savior's people. They want to play this smart. Every attack, every decision they're going to do, it's a chess game. It's not just, oh, let's just ambush them and shoot them and kill them. They might do that for the scavengers because of the proximity, because of knowing their location, because of knowing that they could take them out, and that would at least disrupt their livelihood if you take out their community. You gotta send them to the sanctuary where maybe they won't even get along with Negan, and then you got infighting. So it's a brains game. It's not just bullets and brawn, you know. For Negan, and this is where the most interesting aspect comes from, Negan's whole structure revolves around these people working for them. Now, we have seen they will kill an entire community if they have to. We've heard the story of what they did with Oceanside, and then we've heard or we actually saw them kill the remaining survivors from the library, saving one guy just to show Rick, we will kill off your entire community if you don't work with us. But the most important aspect is the fact that Negan wants as many people as possible to work for him. And I think that's what played into writing the season finale. Negan wants the people to work for him. Negan wants to break Rick, so he doesn't line up the whole community, which I thought he was going to line up more than just Rick and Carl. He takes Rick and Carl. That's it. Negan, this is Negan's last, you know, and final extreme impression he's going to put on Rick. Listen, you are going to make these people fall on the line. I'm going to kill your son. I'm going to take your hands. He didn't even mention Judith, which I'm just remembering that now. I wonder if they forgot, or if that would have been too vicious to be like, I will T-ball your daughter. You know what I mean? That probably would have been crossing the line, or something. That sounded horrible in a messed up way. I meant like viciously be smacking with the baseball. Anyway, doesn't matter. The point is, this is a Negan who was seemingly about to go to the extreme. Who knows? For all we know, any moment there, he could have just been like, you know what, fuck Rick, I'm not going to kill your kid, but I'm going to kill half your people, whatever, whoop-de-whoop. The main idea and the political aspect comes from these characters, when they go into war, they might be looking for to take out the leaders, you know, round up the people, maybe even take some of the people back to the sanctuary. So this is a different style of war than simply the governor saying, we're going to kill them all. It's extremely different. Now, will it get to the point, and this is war, and it will be war, will it get to the point where they say everyone on this battlefield has to die? Yeah, and this is where the devastating aspect comes into play. We have the political side where Negan might even take a few people like he did Eugene. There might be some prisoners of war coming up in Season 8. And I still feel like this will play out all 16 episodes, the entire season. So we might have open storyline and open room, definitely, to have some prisoners of war. There might be some torture. There might be some devastation in their own right in that aspect. But Negan, wanting to play this smart and finding a way to get to Rick without massacring every friggin' community. This is a heavy blow to Negan if you think about this. If he wipes out all these communities, man, that's going to be rough. He's going to have just the sanctuary. Who's going to collect his food? Now think about that, and this is something that is just popped into my head about the severity of this situation. If Negan decides he wants to kill the Kingdom, the Hilltop, and Alexandria, he's fucked. He is fucked. Awesome. I think that's such a cool part of the story, such a cool obstacle in his way, because he's got to go to war with these people, but he can't kill all the communities. He'd be asked out. Imagine the economy and how his community is functioning and flowing because he has these donations to his community. Because he the word is escaping me, but you know what I'm saying. Because he gets these offerings, he gets supplies every week from the Kingdom, from the Alexandria, from the Hilltop. He's getting all this stuff every week. Imagine when that dries up. He might even have infighting in his own people. Now, he might be able to control it now, but if shit hits the fan in the sanctuary, his own people might get desperate enough to kill him in his sleep and then rise up and take control and lead him on his own. So these are the topics that I'm really hoping that they put a magnifying glass to. I think this is so incredibly interesting, as well as defining. I still want this to be one of the most, and it has to be one of the most action-packed seasons ever of The Walking Dead. It has to be devastating. This is war. But there's also that political side where it's not just let's kill each other in the first 2 episodes across the battlefield. They're going to have to make different alliances with Gregory. Gregory's one of the easiest choices. It's in the source material, and they already set it up in season 7. What is Gregory going to do? It seems like it's going to be bigger than what was in the comic. In the comic, it was like a panel and a joke. And then it was like, get out of here, Gregory. Okay, let's get to fighting. In the show, it most likely will be bigger. It most likely, and it doesn't have to span multiple episodes, but it most likely will be at least a half an episode just with that alone, maybe splitting the Hilltop in half, maybe on the battlefield finding a way or maybe maneuvering to pull the Hilltop out, leading to a defeating loss, a hard loss on the Survivor side, thinking they had that extra unit when in fact Gregory pulled him out. There's different, and I'm not saying that people will betray Maggie. I'm saying think about it like this, because I know some people might take it like that. What if Gregory was able to manipulate people and say, Maggie said we need to pull out and we need to go back and hit this other place. Then they pull out of the battle and Gregory says, no, we got to retreat to the Hilltop. And the people are all like, oh man, what's going on? We're regrouping. They get to the Hilltop and they find out that Gregory just lied his ass off. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that specifically, but I'm talking about that type of bullshit with Gregory. That's the type of shit I think we'll see along the lines of that. Not just people straight up picking Gregory over Maggie, leaving her ass on the battlefield, because I don't think half of those people definitely will never do that. Just as of right now, they would never do that, because that means that they're going to go back to living the way they were under Negan's thumb. You know what I mean? So this is what I think is going to be a reoccurring theme in Season 8, the political aspect of it, which I find more interesting the more I think about it. And then it's not all political, but I'm using that as a really huge, engulfing everything outside of just gunfights. You know what I mean? Everything outside of just the violence I'm putting in that, political label. Anyhow, I think that opens it up, the story, to the possibility of being very political and very devastating, again, because this is a war. Now, leave your thoughts and opinions about everything that has to do with The Walking Dead and the new season, maybe questions about the previous seasons. Leave those down in the comment box. We will kickstart the return of The Walking Dead Season 8, or the very first Season 8 discussions, Q&As. We're going to kickstart that tomorrow, so I'm going to pull from the comments down below. And before we close out, lots of things are happening with Fear the Walking Dead. I want to see if Season 3 is going to really pull me in before I dive in deep with Fear the Walking Dead, because it's just kind of losing me. I think for a zombie genre, I like it. I'm willing to, maybe binge watch it, but to dedicate every single night to a new thing. If it doesn't really pull me in by the first few episodes, I think I might fall back from Fear the Walking Dead. It's making some serious changes. I'm hoping that will be a good thing. The showrunner's leaving after this new season, and they're bringing in two new showrunners to co-showrun, and Scott Gimple is also coming as a executive producer, I believe it is. So they're making some changes. They put out this new this promo key art, I think they called it. This promo's pretty decent. You guys let me know. Is Fear the Walking Dead something that you're hyped for? Is this something you want to discuss? So that's all I got to say, really, but it is promising seeing them shake things up a little bit, and I also think it's interesting how Scott Gimple kind of somewhat joins Fear the Walking Dead in Season 4, and he took over as showrunner of The Walking Dead in Season 4. I thought that was an interesting little tidbit, but that's all I got to say about that. Thoughts and opinions in the comment box. I'm done talking. It's your turn.
Subscribe now.